Welcome back to the Britannia Coin Company. We're a coin dealer based in Royal Wootton Bassett in the UK. Today we're looking at a coin which could be one of the rarest 50p's ever. It's a coin that we sold recently for a whopping price tag, and if you come across it, you might make yourself a small fortune. So let's have a look at the coin then. Here it is. It's not a mainland UK coin, rather it's a Christmas 50p minted for Gibraltar. But there's a little bit more to this coin, as it's potentially a one-off error coin. First though, let's get a bit of context, because there are other rare 50p's out there, which if you are lucky, you can find. We'll start by looking at the Kew Gardens 50p. This is a coin that a lot of people know to be looking out for, not just coin collectors. It gets plenty of coverage in newspapers and online articles, and is the rarest commemorative 50p currently in circulation. It became rare because in 2009 the Royal Mint was partway through production of that year's order for circulating 50p's as requested by the Treasury. The Treasury took another look at their figures, which had been forecasted to ascertain how many new 50p's would be needed that year, and they made quite the U-turn and reduced the amount in that order. The Royal Mint was told to stop production partway through, which meant that only 210,000 of the Kew Gardens 50p's were minted to be put into our change. Now if you find one, you're looking at a 50p which you could get at face value, if you're very lucky, but it's worth around £200 in the right selling environment. Our Christmas 50p was a design that was minted for circulation. Many of the Christmas 50p's from Gibraltar have been used in circulation, and they tend to have very low amounts made because Gibraltar's a fairly small place with a small population, so they don't need as many coins as say the whole of the UK. But that's not what makes this coin so rare and valuable. One factor which makes this coin particularly desirable is that it's a minting error. Now errors can come in a range of forms like rotation errors, double die errors, chips or cracks in the dies, but this one is a mule error. So what's a mule error then? Simply put, before a coin becomes a coin, it starts off as a metal disc. This metal disc is struck by two dies, one for the heads or obverse of the coin, and another for the tails or reverse of that coin. These dies strike the disc with tons of pressure, leaving behind the design, making it into a coin. Now, if two dies from two different coins are paired up by mistake, you can end up with the heads of one coin paired with the tails of another, and that's a mule error. An example of a mule error which you might already know about is the undated 20p coin. Back in 2008, there was to be a new definitive design used on our coins. The definitive design is the standard non-commemorative design which tends to be used for a number of years before changing, although that doesn't tend to happen all that often. The old definitive 20p had a crown Tudor rose on the reverse with the date either side, and of course the Queen's portrait on the obverse. The new definitive design for 2008 has the shield of the Royal Arms design on the reverse and the Queen's portrait and the date on the obverse. With one batch though, the 20p coins were struck with the old heads and the new tails, which means that there was no date on either side. This wasn't noticed until the coins got out into circulation and can now fetch large premiums, being a well-known and desirable mule error coin. The same thing happened with our super rare 50p. The reverse depicts a choir boy and a cute little dog, and this was the design used for the 1989 Christmas 50p in Gibraltar. If we turn this around though, you can see the date on the obverse is 1990. The design used on the Christmas 50p in 1990 was not the choir boy design, which has been struck on this coin, so to create this coin, the 1989 tails or reverse and the 1990 heads or obverse have been erroneously paired up, and for some reason this was not spotted or destroyed as an error coin like this should have been had the mint realised the mistake that they'd made. If we look at another really rare 50p to again compare to, this is a great example of a super rare 50p coin. You might think you've seen this coin in your change, but the chances of that are quite slim. It is the 2011 Olympic Aquatics 50p with the lines over the face. It's a subtle difference in the design, but when pointed out, it's quite obvious. Now this is really rare because the design was initially going to have these lines over the face of the swimmer, but at the 11th hour there was a change of heart and it was decided that it obscured the face of the swimmer too much. Some had already been struck with this original design though, and some of these were sold in the sets of packs. There is estimated to be only around 600 of these in existence, which is such a low number compared to the almost 2.2 million of the standard design which went on into circulation. A good condition version of this coin in the original pack can sell for a couple of £1,000, but a loose example of this coin could also fetch a decent price. Our sister company RWB Auctions recently sold one for £1,700 back in May of 2024. So it's a highly sought after coin with a very low mintage, but the mule 50p from Gibraltar that we sold seems to be the only example that we're aware of or can find online, so it did have a bit of a bigger price tag. Of course, mintage isn't everything when it comes to 50p coins. Take for instance the 1992-93 EU Presidency 50p coin. It only had a circulating mintage of 109,000, which is almost half that of the Kew Gardens 50p, and these sell for £40 to £60, quite a bit less than the Kew Gardens 50p. So what makes the Kew Gardens 50p a bit more valuable and desirable could be that it's still actively in circulation, where the EU Presidency 50p was minted before 1997 and therefore is a larger coin, and because of that it's no longer actively in circulation. So you shouldn't readily find them in your change, which means there isn't quite as much hype about that coin. In a similar vein, the 2016 Jemima Podaduck 50p has a mintage of 2.1 million. Coins of a similar mintage are the Sir Isaac Newton 50p with 1.8 million and the Suffragettes sitting at 3.1 million. But the Podaduck far eclipses both of these coins in terms of the value to a collector. Again, hype also plays into this, as the Podaduck was the rarest of the 5 2016 Beatrix Potter 50p coins released that year. So then, what did this coin sell for? Brace yourself, £4,500. That's right, a 50p coin that could have been found in circulation. That is quite the huge markup. It is worth stressing that the coin did actually sell for that as well, unlike if you were to have a look at some of the coins that are listed on, say, eBay. Let's take Benjamin Bunny as an example. You can find these coins listed for absolutely ridiculous prices online, but the key part of that statement is listed. Just because a coin is listed at a price doesn't mean that's what it's worth, so you need to have a look at what coins have actually sold for. Unfortunately, there's a lot of nonsense news out there when a newspaper sees these crazy prices that coins have been listed for and runs with the story as if that's what they're actually worth, which then in turn prompts others to list theirs for similar crazy prices, and the cycle keeps repeating. Unlike those Benjamin Bunny examples we've just looked at, this coin did sell for that price. It'll be really interesting to see, having sold an example of this coin, whether more turn up, because as I've said, we couldn't find reference to this particular era coin anywhere else, leading us to believe that if there are more out there, it can't be many of them, especially as it's taken so long for this era to be discovered. What also helps with this coin is that territory and crown dependency Christmas 50p's are quite collectible too. Even without the errors, some of these coins can sell for large premiums as collectors try and complete the collections of all the different coins. There is the 2008 Isle of Man Snowman and Boy, which has a very low mintage and is a design which was repurposed from an older coin and restruck in 2008. It's not quite on the level of our Mule 50p, but it does hold a decent value for sure. Or the 1989 Isle of Man Blimp £2 coin, which again can sell for thousands of pounds, although this is a coin a bit more widely known about compared to the one that we're looking at today, which seems to have gone unknown for decades. It also helps that this coin has been graded by NGC, getting a rather high grade as well. This will give a buyer a bit more confidence when purchasing the coin rather than just buying a loose coin. Its grade has been assigned a numerical value, and they would have checked the coin over the same as we have to make sure it wasn't a forgery or anything spurious. So then, is this the rarest 50p out there? It's certainly got to be a contender for the crown, given everything that we've discussed. It might not be one that you'll readily find in your change now, but if you're at coin fairs, coin shops, or browsing online and you see this design with a 1990 date and it's not been identified as this particular era version, you know that it's worth snapping up, as there's plenty of money to be made from it. So can you think of any rarer 50p's than this exciting mule era coin? We'd love to know in the comments because we're scratching our heads to think of another one that's just as rare as this coin potentially is. We hope you've enjoyed today's video. We love sharing information about rare and exciting coins that you might be able to get your hands on. Now be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's free to do and it means you won't miss out on any of our future uploads. You can also follow us on our different social media channels, and I'll see you next time for more amazing coins from the Britannia Coin Company.